היינו, אתה בני חורין, בני חורין. עבדים היינו, אתה בני חורין. עבדים היינו, אתה בני חורין. Avadim hayinu, hayinu, tabnei chorim, bnei chorim, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim, b'nei chorim. Avadim hayinu, hayinu, tabnei chorim, b'nei chorim, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim, avadim hayinu, ata b'nei chorim, b'nei chorim. Avadim hayinu, hayinu, tabnei chorim, b'nei chorim. We are free. Avadim hayinu, hayinu, we are tabnei chorim, b'nei chorim. Avadim hayinu, hayinu, tabnei chorim, b'nei chorim. We are avadim hayinu, hayinu.
Avadim chayinu lefaro b'Mitzrayim, once we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. However, now we are free to have Zoom Siyyum every Monday and Wednesday evening, and Havdalah at 7:30 on Saturdays, and to have seders and to practice our faith and to be Jews. So, shalom to all of you, and shalom to Rabbi.
Hello, hello. Cantor, your voice was quiet, just so that you know. But it's good to see everybody, and we're going to start in a minute with a little music. I'm at Temple because we're going to have a little adult learning tonight after this, but let's start with a song.
Is that better on the voice thing? Guitar's a good balance? Hinei matov umanayim shever achim gam yachad הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad.
Hine matov. It is always good to be together. Say hi to those who have already joined us, to Ellen and Nancy and Adele and Marianne and Francine and John and Simon and Yvonne. It's good to have you with us. I'm going to share a story, and then we'll move into our Zoom. It's a story that is not a Passover story, but it's actually a challah story. So I figured, we're at the end of being able to eat anything that is leavened now. So we will tell a little challah story, but I think its values carry us into Pesach, because one of the things that we say at Passover when we hold up that matzah is, let all who are hungry come and eat, let all who are in need come and share in our Passover. Once, many years ago, in a small village, there lived Reb Chaim, the richest man in the village. And there lived Reb Yankel, the poorest. Every Friday evening, Reb Chaim would come to the synagogue in his fine Shabbos coat and his exquisite fur hat. And he arrived early so that he could exchange greetings with all the other men of the village. As the service ended, Reb Chaim would rise, wish the congregation a good Shabbos, and then stride up the magnificent hill to his mansion. His butler would meet him at the door and show him to his regal dining room, where a table fit for a king awaited him. Reb Chaim would sit surrounded by the very finest china, flatware, and crystal. He would be served in the most remarkable Shabbos meal, accompanied by the sweetest, most heavenly challah. But none of it brought Reb Chaim joy, for he was alone. Reb Chaim had no family and no one he could call a friend. One Shabbos, Reb Chaim stared at the golden platters and the wonderful dishes set before him, and he suddenly realized what he needed. He needed to share his Shabbos feast with someone, but with whom? Who is worthy of sharing this Shabbos feast, he wondered. Only God, he decided. Let God share my wonderful Shabbos feast. And so a plan took shape in his mind. Bring me the baker, Reb Chaim called out. The baker emerged from the kitchen. Yes, sir, inquired the baker. Is something wrong? Wrong. No, your challah is divine. Next week, I would like you to make me 2 extra challahs. Make sure they're your very best. Pack them up for delivery before I leave for the synagogue. Yes, sir, my very best, replied the baker. The next Friday evening, Reb Chaim left for the synagogue unusually early. He wore his Shabbos coat and his fur hat, and under his arm he carried a package still warm from the oven. He entered the synagogue before anyone else approached the Holy Ark. He stood for a moment in prayer. Ribono Shalom, Master of the universe, each week I enjoy a magnificent Shabbos feast. This week I want you, God, to share my feast. I want your Shabbos to be as good as mine. So I have brought you challahs. Even you, God, have never tasted challah so good. I hope you enjoy these challahs as I do. I wish you a good Shabbos. With that, Reb Chaim opened the ark, removed the challahs from the package, and tucked them behind the Torah scrolls. He closed the ark, and as the people began to enter the synagogue, he took his place by the eastern wall. Reb Yankel also went to the synagogue that Friday night, but Reb Yankel, the poorest man in the village, always arrived late because he tried to squeeze every little last bit of work into the waning minutes of every Friday afternoon. He always came to the synagogue in his dirty work clothes and always sat in the very back. Normally, Reb Yankel would hurry home after the service. He lived in a tiny hovel at the edge of the village with his wife, his children, and his wife's parents, his wife's widowed sister, and assorted nieces and nephews, all of whom Yankel struggled to support. Normally, he would enjoy the hugs and kisses of his family as he washed and readied himself for the Shabbos meal. No matter how meager the meal, Yankel cherished the spirit of his family's Shabbos table. Tonight, however, Yankel was in no hurry. It had been a bad week, a bad month, a bad season. Each week, Yankel's family had had less and less to eat. And tonight, he could not bring himself to face his children over an empty table. He sat in the synagogue as everyone left. And when he was alone, he approached the Holy Ark, stood a few minutes and offered his prayer. Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the universe, it's Shabbos. How can you let me go home to see my children hungry? You know how hard I work, and you know that I have nothing to bring home. Without your help, dear God, I don't have the strength to go home and watch my family suffer. Without your help, God, I refuse to leave the synagogue. With that, he slammed his hands on the doors of the ark, and the ark opened up, and out rolled 2 beautiful golden warm challahs. It's a miracle, shrieked Reb Yankel. Thank you, dear God, thank you. Reb Yankel ran home and placed the challahs on the table. The family was astounded, and Yankel declared the challahs a gift, a miracle of God, an answer to his prayers, and the family ate and celebrated. It would be difficult to measure where there was greater joy that Friday night. In the tiny poor home of Reb Yankel, whose children had never tasted challah so sweet, or in the mansion of Reb Chaim, who ate and drank and sang his prayers with a new spirit. The following week, Reb Chaim again ordered his baker to make 2 challahs and pack them for delivery. And again, Reb Chaim stood before the ark and offered the prayer, Master of the universe, you must have enjoyed those challahs, because the next morning when we removed the Torah from the ark, not a crumb was left. I'm grateful that your Shabbos was as joyful as mine. And so I bring you 2 more challahs, challahs sweeter than those your own angels bake. Enjoy these challahs, dear God, and I wish you a good Shabbos. At the end of the service, when the synagogue was empty, Reb Yankel humbly approached the Holy Ark. Master of the world, he replied, I have come to give thanks for the joy you brought my family last week. I know that one miracle in a lifetime is more than a man has a right to ask for. And I know that I have no right to ask for another. But dear God, you yourself heard our songs last week. You know what a Shabbos you brought my children. Besides, in your great universe, what's a couple of challahs? With that, he timidly opened the ark and out rolled 2 more golden challahs. Yankel shouted in joy, a miracle, and he danced his way home. And this went on for a full month, and then another and another. until a whole year of challahs had come and gone. Each week, Reb Chaim placed the gifts for God in the ark, and each week, Reb Yankel accepted God's miracles. It was the greatest year in each man's life. Then a terrible thing happened. The shamus, the man who cleaned the synagogue, had been detained and was so late preparing for the Friday night service. Just before the service was about to begin, he ran to the synagogue to do his weekly sweeping. As he worked in the back of the synagogue, he witnessed the strangest thing. Reb Chaim, the richest man in the village, approached the holy ark carrying a bundle. He made a quiet prayer, then opened the bundle and placed 2 challahs in the ark. The shamus wondered whom the challahs were for, so he waited to find out. Sure enough, as the service came to an end, Reb Yankel, the poorest man in the village, approached the ark. He whispered a prayer about miracles, opened the ark, and removed the challahs that Reb Chaim had placed there. The shamus began to laugh, startling Reb Yankel. "You fool," he declared. "You simpleton. Wait, stay right here." And with that, the shamus ran outside, caught up with Reb Chaim, and dragged him back to the synagogue. When the 2 men faced each other, their faces dropped. The shamus laughed as he ridiculed them both. "You, Reb Chaim, do you really think God eats your challah each week? You fool. It is this beggar who takes from you. And you, Reb Yankel, do you really believe God hears your prayers and miraculously feeds your family? You fool, it is this miser. You are the most foolish men. Wait until the village hears of this." The spirits of both Reb Chaim and Reb Yankel shriveled. Reb Chaim trudged up the hill to his home, but refused to even taste his Shabbos meal. And Reb Yankel dropped the challahs, walked home empty-handed, and sat weeping during the Shabbos meal. Just as Shabbos ended, each of the 3 men, Reb Chaim, Reb Yankel, and the shamus, received an urgent message summoning them to the home of the rabbi. Now the rabbi was a great and powerful mystic with deep, penetrating eyes, and to receive a summons to his home filled the men with great fear. The 3 were shown into the rabbi's room. The rabbi sat at his desk, staring into a holy book, shaking his head and groaning in sadness. He looked up at the men, and they could see the anger and pain in his eyes. "I had a terrible dream last night," he began. "God was terribly angry and was ready to destroy the whole world because something precious and holy had been destroyed. So I pleaded with God to let me try to repair the miracle before the world was destroyed." "Reb Chaim," the rabbi continued, "your gifts did reach God. And do you know what joy God took from them? And Reb Yankel, what you found each Shabbos did come from God. And do you know that your children's songs reach higher than the songs of the angels? Did you know that this miracle had been foreseen since the creation of the world? It was God's special joy to see it renewed each week. And only if the miracle is repaired will God let the world continue to exist." Looking at each other for the first time, Reb Chaim and Reb Yankel knew what to do. The following Friday, instead of opening the doors of the ark to his challahs, Reb Chaim opened the doors of his home to the family of Reb Yankel. And in turn, the children of Reb Yankel's family filled the rooms of Reb Chaim's once lonely and empty mansion with Shabbos songs and spirit. And so, because these 2 found a way to repair God's miracle, the world continues to exist. As for the shamus, his punishment was to leave the village and spend the rest of his days wandering the earth. And in every place where he found Jews who make Shabbos, he told them the story of the miracle of Reb Chaim and Reb Yankel. And when he died, his children continued to tell the story. When they died, their children continued to tell the story. And so on until every Jew in every corner of the world had heard the story. In that way, the shamus repaired the miracle and helped the world continue. And now, you've heard the story too. Erev Tov. Let's move into our Shema and Hashkivenu prayers. I just want to also say hi to Meredith as well. Thank you for being with us. And let's move into our Shema and Hashkivenu prayers.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, L'shalom, L'shalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu, L'chaim, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Oh, teach us, God, wrong from right, oh Adonai. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, L'shalom, L'shalom. V'hamidenu Shomreinu, L'chaim. Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Amen. Amen.
So just a couple of quick announcements. Friday, there will be an online service, short online service at 5 o'clock. No later service because it is first night of Pesach. Saturday evening is second night Pesach. Cantor Paul and I will be at TBI here for those who are joining us for Seder. So we won't have a regular Havdalah on Saturday evening. There'll be no Havdalah on Saturday evening because we'll be at the Seder. We won't be able to be online to do that. All right. But we will be back on Monday for another Zoom Siyyum, another opportunity.
Counting the Omer too.
And to count the Omer, which we start doing on the second night of Pesach, on Saturday night. It's the first night of counting the Omer. So we'll be doing that for a little while. So let's end with a song.
Sounds good. Say shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu. Say shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu. So say shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu. Yase shalom, yase shalom, shalom aleinu. ועל כל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו, על כל יושבי תבל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו על כל יושבי תבל.
Erev Tov, everyone. Reminder, we also have a first day Passover service at 10 a.m. at TBI on Saturday, first day Pesach on Saturday. We'll also stream that service out on Facebook and Zoom and YouTube.
You can be interactive on Zoom too if you choose.
Interactive on Zoom. Those links are all in your congregational email. And that'll do it. We'll see you all soon. Chag Pesach Sameach, Zisen Pesach, whatever you say, happy Passover, all of those things. Chag Kasher V'Sameach, all of those greetings for this holiday. May your Passover be meaningful and freeing, and hope to see you all soon.
I'm into that. Good night, everybody. Litraot. I like your love your bib there, Yvonne.